built-in limiter.
Something.
Oh,
Yeah, man.
it's a Cleveland Moto podcast, and we are running. Yes, it has built-in limiter. But guess what happens when you hit the limit? Shit gets sucky for a little while.
It's supposed to not.
I know,
That's what it's
right?
for.
So yeah. So podcast. I don't know what number we're on at this point.
202?
202, 203, yeah, something like
that.
that. So we're gonna do what we always do. We're gonna go around the table. You're gonna say your name, and you're gonna say what you've been riding all week, if you've been riding at all.
Yeah, this is Oscar, and I haven't ridden anything because I've been traveling all over Wisconsin.
You have become an emissary to Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Cheesehead, cheddarhead.
Pretty much. Cheese curds are amazing, though.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
I actually had a cheese
Especially
curd
on French
burger up in
No meat at all, just all curds.
Curds and just the patty. And
Really?
yeah,
Oh, okay, yeah.
It was really good.
And to Oscar's left.
It's Dustin, and I've been on my DRZ 400 Supermoto.
Pretty much, we've had the week of weather.
Oh, yeah.
It's been perfect.
Yeah.
It's been riding
I
weather.
already got a couple hundred, probably about 500 miles on my new tires, which
Good.
are awesome and
Yeah.
sticky. And
What did you go with on those? Did you go with the Dunlops?
the Dunlop Sport Max.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very confidence boosting compared to
people-
those rock hard Pirellis I had on there.
It's those Pirellis. Just we were talking about that earlier. They're good tires. They just take forever to warm up.
Yeah.
So if you can have somebody following you around with tire warmers, you're good to go.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
otherwise-
I agree.
It ain't going to work out too well for you.
I had to watch it the first 100 or so miles, you know, the whole break-in period to get the mold release off because they were so confidence-inspiring. I was down in the Metro Parks just kind of working it out, and I'm getting in the turns. I'm like, oh, yeah, go lower, go there, oh, yeah. And I'm like, well, no, wait.
Hold on. Mold release.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Way to loop it real quick all of a sudden as you just explore that next half inch of tire and get all that decent mold release at the side.
Think WD-40 on your tire.
Right. Yeah.
And to his left.
Johnny Mac. Last time I was out was with you when we were scouting for the GGR.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good ride.
Been busy.
Yeah.
Were you on your KLR for the DGR?
Yep. KLR for the DGR.
KGR. KLR, DGR.
DRZ,
Through
DGR?
what was that? The CVR?
That CBR, Cuyahoga Valley region.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. And to his left.
Steve Sleepy Cinch. I've been riding this last week has been awesome. My wedding anniversary was last weekend, and all of a sudden my wife turned into a motorcyclist.
Full on.
Like she went from
Yeah.
riding her little Metropolitan.
Yeah.
She booted me off my buddy, took the buddy. I was on my Stella.
Yeah.
We all day long just went, and then we went to a motorcycle show and hung out at a motorcycle show, and she was happy
She
about it.
increased her displacement by 150%.
100. Like I was so impressed.
Yeah, in one move.
Yeah, so we did that. Then Sunday, we rode to my daughter's play on scooters, and then we went for a ride on the Super Tenere. And then all week long, I've been riding Super T, Husky, the Buddy.
You literally
green
had
bastard. I've
a
had a-
whole week of motorcycle.
Yeah, I haven't stopped yet. This week's been awesome.
That's fantastic. That's
rare.
That's a great.
But I'm paying for it now with this bank situation.
Yeah,
so,
we
that.
said for the past week we've had the weather that people in San Diego dream of.
Yeah.
You know, the windows are open at night, the house is cool, and you go out and ride, and you wear your gear, and you're not dying. It's been pretty freaking great.
Every day that it said it was going to rain, it didn't.
That's right. It's been weird. It's been on and off, so it's been kind of strange in the rain development.
There was a
The,
bit of decent cloud coverage, too, that kept it,
Yeah.
the glare and the
It's been good. It's been a good
beating
ride.
sun off you. So.
And then to his left is
Ben Rich. I've been riding a Zero SR from Florida to Cleveland.
yeah. I guess you've been riding one bike.
Yep. I have not missed the rain. I got a little rain in Kentucky, but that's all right.
God. And so this leg of the journey. So you said you were home for how many days before you launched again? How many rest days did you have?
So, well, this is the first leg of my trip for this
Okay,
summer.
for this year.
Yeah. So I'm a teacher. I teach physics and environmental science at a private high school near New York City. And so in the summers, I ride my Zero SR across the country because I love road trips. I have a fast charging system on there, so I go about 400 miles a day. And
Which
yeah,
is
it's a
already. I mean, that's
But electric
You were showing
motorcycles
us that
can't
fast
do
charging
that.
system.
They
It was pretty
they can't
impressive.
travel that far, is what everybody always says. And
That's-
you're here
yeah.
saying no, absolutely not.
They do, and I'm not the only one doing it anymore.
Right.
This is my 6th year doing a cross country electric motorcycle trip. Sometimes cross country is north south, so
right.
I do like Maine to Florida because I am originally from New England. I'm from New Hampshire, but so I'll do Maine, and then my family's in Florida, so I'll visit
makes
them
sense.
down there. So
Yeah.
that's why I go. But I make sure to hit the Blue Ridge Parkway and
yeah.
just like veer off I-95 one of my most hated roads, and
Yeah.
go down the Blue Ridge
Absolutely.
Parkway, my favorite road in the United States. And so I just go down and I stay
I think
with
it's
friends.
interesting that, on this trip, I know last time when you were traveling, a big part of your trip was you were covering the distance. You were literally going 4 corners of the United States, it
Yeah.
looked like, on the map.
Pan American.
Yeah, and the map, you were just covering distance like mad.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it sounds like this time you're slowing down a little bit, both for range opportunities, like to enhance your distance, but also to make the trip more fun.
Well, it's the purpose of the trip, like why we ride. You ask anyone why they ride, and you'll get like slightly different nuanced answers from everyone. So I wanted to be the first person to ride cross country. Terry Hirschner beat me by 6 months. Jerk.
God damn it, Terry.
No, he's
Terry needs a job.
he's a friend. No, he's a great guy, and I've come to know him a lot.
Yeah.
So I became the second person to ride cross country from Charleston to Google headquarters near San Francisco.
Yep.
Did that in 2013 with like 10 other people. We had an electric car, my electric motorcycle, electric scooters, and an electric bicycle.
And a generator.
The full,
And no generator.
the full electric support system.
And we had a so we had a blast doing
Yeah.
that, and we only went 100 miles a day because
Wow.
the guy on the bicycle.
Holy cow.
So we took 44
Yeah.
days to do it, about 4,500 miles total.
There's some moxie.
And that
Jeez.
got me into it. I was just like, all right, I can do that. And at that time, there wasn't really a lot of aftermarket fast charging systems, but someone just developed one, so I got that, and I was like, I'm gonna do this. Like, I'm gonna do my own road trip down the Blue Ridge Parkway, and then visiting. I had a cousin getting married in St. Louis and friends in Chicago, and at that time,
Pretty epic.
yeah, it was awesome.
That's
But at the same time, like I was all about like I'm going to show people how awesome electric motorcycles are, and I would ride at 45 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I would ride like 70 miles, and then I would charge for an hour and a half.
Okay.
So it ended up like riding for 1 hour and charging for 2, or riding for 1 and charging for an hour and a half or something like that. So it was definitely more charging than riding time.
Yeah.
And then each year the batteries get bigger, the charging systems get faster.
You
and
said
now
you've gone through a 2012, a 2014, and now you have a 2016.
Yeah, now I have a
Zero.
2016 Zero SR. So now I ride for 2 hours and charge for 45 minutes, and that is a much
Big
more
improvement,
acceptable ratio.
And that's, you think about, I know Zero this year for the first time, when I was at the training and they said, well, due to the advancements we've made in our onboard charging and our level 2 charging, that we're telling people that we're charging at 100 miles per hour. And that's a really tough number to get your head around, because you sit there and you're like, I really don't want to drive that bike at faster than 100 miles per hour. But I'm charging it at 100 miles per hour. And you have to take that number apart a little bit. So if you break that number down and you go, okay, well, you're charging that bike at 100 miles per hour, meaning that if you're driving it at 50 miles per hour, then you're draining that battery at a given rate. The one thing about electrics that after you left today, it was hilarious because 2 guys came in that were absolutely game on, ready to buy Zero motorcycles. But the one guy had I want the maximum range, and the other guy said, I'm going to ride 40 miles a day.
Yeah.
Right? And he's like, I'm going to ride 40 miles a day. I'm going to commute 40 miles a day. I don't want to drag around enough battery to go 160 miles
Yeah. No.
because I'm going to do 40 days. And I was like, yeah, put him on a 7.2. Absolutely.
Brilliant.
I'll put you on a small lightweight motorcycle with tons of storage built into it that has a 2-cell battery, a 2-battery brick. And he instantly got it. He's going to be a customer. The other guy is not going to be a customer. The other guy is like, well, what if I want to ride to Cincinnati? And as soon as somebody says that, you're not really a Zero buyer unless you're what you're into, which is the logistics of planning your day to the point where you can say, I'm charging in 45 minutes and riding for 2 hours.
Yeah, the stop is part of the adventure.
Absolutely.
And so, like, when I ride near cities, I'm charging at electric car charging stations.
Yep.
and they're everywhere in New York City. I have an app. It's called PlugShare. You can look it up online. You don't have to download it. If you look up online, plugshare.com, you can see where all the charging stations are. And
I have a really dumb basic question.
yeah,
Do you have to pay to charge, or are these free, or how does it work?
they're mostly free.
Really?
So
Okay.
like going from New York City to Florida to here, I've paid a total of $10
Wow.
about. And so most of the places, they want you to eat at their restaurant
Right. That's what I was
or
going to
sleep
say.
at their
is
motel or something.
What's
like
the
that.
funnest
or shop
and what
at their
was the
Walmart.
lamest one you've had to, if you go to a car charging station,
Oh yeah.
is it fun waiting that 45 minutes? Like you can sit there, you can have lunch and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Most of them are at a place where you'd want to hang out for 45 minutes.
He went to a town that had many chargers, and none of them were turned on.
Many outlets.
Many outlets.
They had outlets on plywood boards,
Yeah.
like dozens of they had dozens of 110-volt outlets
Yeah.
on plywood boards. They must be for concerts or something crazy like that. And NEMA 1450 plugs, which are the RV park plugs, and none of them had any power. And I was almost out of juice. This is a different story.
Yeah.
I do want to get back to your question, but so I get to this place and I'm at like almost at 0%, and I'm plugging in to everyone because you know, like when you're desperate, you're just like, maybe this one will work after you've tried
Port
20.
in any storm.
And it's like, no, it's not going to work, you idiot. So then I
the
found a
same
nearby
source.
KOA, and I was like, okay, it's 6 miles away. I'm gonna try to do this. So I'm feathering the throttle, and I'm almost.
What are you
like, using
showing
my
as your charge on your clock? Like zero? You're at, like, it goes to zero, but is it like a car where you hit empty, but you still got a little bit more?
My
or
current bike does have
when does
that.
it shut off and just say you're
Depends
done?
on your bike.
The one I was riding was a 2014 model year, which is an anomaly, and that one did not count the charge well once you got really close to zero. So I didn't know exactly how much. Now I was more familiar with my bike than like anyone else, and I didn't know when it was going to cut out on me. So I'm going to this KOA.
Surprise! You're out
and
of
I
juice,
go,
motherfucker.
oh yeah, that
I mean, is
happened.
it a hard stop though? I mean, I've never ridden it one into the ground. So, like, does it just say, "Wait a second, we're way too low. This is unhealthy for the battery. You're done."
Oh no, it goes low power, so like you can go 35 miles an hour, but you can't go highway.
There's a
speed.
double
Oh,
secret
okay.
eco mode, is what I call it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's an eco mode that you don't press the button for. It's one that's awarded
It's
to
forcing
you
you, yeah.
when you get to such a low battery level.
We're
Yeah.
just trying to keep you moving till you get to a charging station.
Exactly, and like, by the way, chill out. Settle down with that throttle wrist. All right. So in Michigan, I was just collecting Michigan as a state, right? I was collecting states. I'm the first person to ride through all the lower 48 states, and so I was going through Ohio, and I just dipped into Michigan, and this town with all these outlets didn't work out. And I'm going to this KOA, and I go up to the top of an overpass, and as I crest, the throttle gives me no response anymore, and I coast down the overpass into the KOA. And so I have never been stranded. And I have gone on some crazy long distance trips far, far away from home. And that was the closest I ever got. So I was able to coast right in. They hooked me up with a charging station.
Would going down a long hill like that give you a little bit of a charge through regenerative braking? And stuff
Yeah.
like
So
that?
brake,
So it
yeah.
actually.
Yeah, my best experience with that was at Mount Washington in New Hampshire. Yeah.
That's
And-
a lot of free juice coming down.
Oh
road.
man, it's the best because everyone else is burning out their brakes because they have physical brake pads that are hitting, and I'm just using regen, and I get back like 15 miles of range
All right.
from the top to the bottom.
You get your iPhone out and you set it for maximum regen,
Oh, yeah.
maximum regen braking. With the zeros, you can use your phone to set up your custom parameters. And that's one of the great things that we can do, as zero operators, is we can determine how much engine braking we have.
Yeah,
We can
pick it.
determine how do we want the bike to respond. And I've been, experimenting for a couple of years now, and that we had a customer that was in today who's had two different zeros, both SRs. So they're both 100 plus torque motorcycles, and he's always, every car he drives is over 500 horsepower except for his electrics. So this man has caviar taste when it comes to automobiles and power, and I showed him on his bike how to set the regen for no regen on coasting, and then all the regen on the brake activation.
yeah.
Which is exactly how he loves it. So when he blasts down the street, he blasts down the street. When he coasts forever. But then when he touches his brakes, he gets maximum regen. So he's barely ever heating up his brake pads.
Right.
It's a really cool setting. If you get to mess around with your Zero, that's a fun one when you have your custom setting and you want
Yeah.
to play around. That's a really interesting one to use.
I met a guy in South Carolina, in Spartanburg, South Carolina, who has that exact setup.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's so nice being able
Yeah.
to set up your bike to operate the way exactly you wanted to. What was your question again?
Oh, just what was the best
and
charging
worst,
station and what was the worst?
Oh yeah,
Well, obviously, probably the worst was the one where you went there and there wasn't.
Nothing worked.
Had
Yeah.
the port.
yeah, that was really bad. There's been a couple places where you go to like a KOA or something, and if you go to the small RV parks, the owner is at the desk,
Yeah.
and you go in, you say, "Hey, can I use $1.50 worth of electricity for 45 minutes?" And they're like, "Sure, don't even bother. Just it's
You
fine."
showed me the 50 amp hookup that you have that'll work perfectly
Yeah.
at any RV park.
It's great. And they usually they're super happy with just a conversation because I'm like a unicorn.
Oh,
They've
yeah.
never seen someone on an electric motorcycle in the
Fascinating.
middle of Kentucky
And
or
it's going to be
Oklahoma or
hard for
whatever.
you to get out of some of those situations once your battery's charged. Because you are such a unicorn. You plug into that NEMA 1450 outlet, you're only going to be there for 40 minutes.
Yeah, it charges
Yeah.
up pretty quick.
It
there.
charges, those are very hot leads.
Yeah, but at some
And-
of those places,
yeah.
like the ones with more hierarchy, you've got people who are like high school students who are at the desk, and
Yeah.
they call the boss, and the boss is like, "Charge him
Oh, I
for a
don't-
night."
I don't know if I can let you charge here.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
Oh,
and there was
gee.
one lady near the tail of the dragon. I think it was on the Cherahala Skyway. It was on the Cherahala Skyway.
See, now that's one of my favorite roads.
Oh, this is so great.
Yeah.
And she called the boss, and he was just like, $20, and she gave me this look of like, "I'm sorry,
Right.
I can't do anything." Fortunately, there was another RV park right down the road. I called them, and I went from like, it'll cost you $20 for $1 worth of electricity
Right.
to, sure, just charge for free, it's no
Plug in,
problem.
baby.
In 3 miles, right?
Another technique that I find works really well at RV parks is, one, no matter how small the RV park is, there's always a Dave.
Oh yeah.
So you get to the gate and you're like, "Hey, I'm just visiting my buddy Dave with a camper. I happen to be around on a bike. I just figured I'd go say hi." And then you go in.
I got to find
And you
them.
just-
I'll come back and let you know what my site is,
Blingo.
and I'll get a second vehicle pass.
Right.
Meanwhile,
Or
you
just,
go to any
I
site
gotta
that's
go
open.
find my buddy Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just go to find your buddy Dave, and you pull in, and you find the first plug that you can see that's not within eyesight of where you just were,
Yeah.
and you plug in,
4 or 5 minutes later.
and then wander around. And
Yeah.
then wander around, you come out, and you're like, "Hey, that was great.
Still
Thanks,
looking for
cool."
Dave.
Usually what's going to happen, though, is you're going to get involved in a conversation when somebody walks up to you and sees your bike is electric and doesn't have any mufflers on it.
Yeah.
And that's the international symbol for "you should talk to me now." And then you turn into talking to somebody for half an hour. But the good news is plug in first.
It is, yes, it is nice to be an extrovert if you're
Yeah.
gonna do these kind of plugins. I always ask permission when I go to these places. And in the beginning, in 2013, I was really hesitant. I was like, "Oh, I wonder what they're gonna say." But I've done it so many times, and the people at RV parks are so nice.
Yeah.
So the best place I've charged, I've had so many wonderful experiences with RV parks, just chatting with people and like getting
People
to
like
know them
feed
and
you,
their
too.
story.
Did anybody feed you? I mean, like,
Yeah.
Hey, we're making some food on fire. You want to
Yes.
come on over and get you something?
Yeah, another one right by the Tail of the Dragon. Oh my gosh, I can't remember the name of the park, but yeah, it was just such a lovely family. They were sitting down to dinner, and I plugged in, and they were like, "Come on over and have some salad." And they were having like a big salad for dinner, and I just sat with them and chatted, and then it was great.
That's super
So-
cool. And
Another
That's part
fun
of travel.
charging stop was just recently. Tanger outlets, almost all have charging stations at their place.
just an outlet shopping center.
Yeah.
Everything you'd ever want in the way of outlet stores.
So do Walmarts.
Yeah, I was about to say, don't most Walmarts have those
Yeah.
too?
I don't know. They may have the NEMA 1450 plug,
Well,
but
that
they
NEMA
don't have
14
charging stations.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
talking about like a real electric vehicle charging station.
At the one in Avon, they do.
Yeah, I was about to
Walmart
say,
Avon
I think the
has
one
a
over by me in
electric
Clear
vehicle.
Lakes
Ours are
too,
up-
because they have the whole, like, the electric car only with the whole handles and the big thing and stuff.
Go figure. You never
$1
see
an
electric
hour.
cars in there.
Well, the one at Walmart's $1 an hour.
Yeah.
So the charger
perfect.
at Walmart is a charge point, and
Okay.
they're $1 an hour, and they operate with the app. So that's nice as you get the prognosis of when your unit's going to be
Exactly.
charged, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing when you're looking at level 2 charging, is by using that resource, when you see that on your PlugShare app, you see that that's available to you. It's kind of a luxury, because then you don't have to do math to figure out when your bike's going to be charged. So you don't have to say like, well, if I go into the store for a half an hour, I'll come back out and check.
Right.
This
And-
tells you when you're going to be done.
And at Tanger outlets, they have these charge point stations which
Yeah.
are connected to the internet.
Yeah.
So you don't. It's not Bluetooth. You don't have to be nearby. So it just gives you this amazing peace of mind. So I plug in at Tanger outlets and I walk to it. And this is the one in Jeffersonville between Cincinnati and Columbus. And there's mini golf. Sweet.
I
There's
have
mini
been
golf.
entertained.
And I had to walk like a half an hour to get to the place where I got the golf club. But I got a golf club, and this was just silly. So I make videos for every day that I'm riding, and just to share the experience so people feel more comfortable with like what it's like. So I was like, I'm gonna videotape myself playing mini golf. So I put my helmet on.
Oh, God.
And used my helmet. I played 9 holes of mini golf with my motorcycle helmet.
Oh, people had to love you.
There's kids walking by and they're craning their necks around like, what is this?
Look, Mommy,
special.
Daft Punk
Yeah.
is playing mini golf.
Yeah.
So while you
So
could
that's
plug
cool.
into any household 110 outlet, that's lame. You're looking for a dedicated charging station so you can get a 45-minute charge.
During the day I am. And this actually gets back
Yeah.
to the question that this potential customer was asking. What if I want to go to another city? So I don't even actually need to. I live near New York City. I live in New Jersey, about 25 minutes out of the city. And I can ride from my home in New Jersey to Brooklyn, to Queens, through the Bronx, and back home. Easy peasy, do not need to charge. So I can go to the Rockaways and go swimming with friends, and I don't need to charge on the way. So anything around town, you don't need a fancy charging system. And I only use a 110 plug when I'm at home, using it like what I would consider normally, like what most people would use their Zero for. When you're charging on the go, you need more power. Oh yeah, more power.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fans of Tim Allen.
Yeah, you got that. I
So yeah, you want the NEMA 1450, which is a
Yeah.
50 amp connection at the RV park. You want the plugs that are electric car charging stations called J1772 plugs.
Yep.
Worst name ever.
It is
But
the dumbest name.
but
Yeah.
that's a 30 amp connection that gives you 6 kilowatts of power, and I use 2 of them at the same time.
Yeah, that's
So
what I wanted you guys to see his bike.
Yeah.
Because what makes his bike very special is the charging rig that he has installed. He's running 2 level 2 chargers synchronous. I mean, he's literally doing what everything says you shouldn't do.
He has one in the
So one's-
pannier
one's for-
and one on the belly, 1 or 2 on the belly,
It's 2 in the belly pan.
3 in the belly.
3
Yeah.
in the belly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's got
3 in the belly.
Yeah, so he's got 3 in the belly pan.
And those are the ones I use most of the time. The one on the pannier is for overnight 110
Which
volt
kills me
charging.
is, that giant space taker upper on the outside of his motorcycle is the 110.
Yeah. It
And
does,
then,
it does
yeah,
like
and then
nothing.
the big baller
Right.
one's on the bottom.
And the big bulky one, because
Yeah.
here at the shop we've got some of the Delta Q chargers and things like that. They plug into a heavier receptacle than your standard 110 outlet on the side of the motorcycle. They plug in by the motor underneath, in the chassis area. We call the genitals of the motorcycle, and you plug that in, and that's still a 110, but it can provide you at a greater rate than your traditional 10 or 11 amp wall outlet. But that device is a little bit bulky. It's bigger than a lunchbox, and it's yellow, so you don't lose it or drive over it in the garage. But that's $650. So with you running the ability to run 2 level 2s at the same time and be able to feed the bike on a 1450, a NEMA 1450,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. The charging speed that you're dealing with,
Oh yeah.
it's
so
just amazing.
So it opens up the rest of the country. This I was starting to say this at the beginning, but so near cities, I charge at electric car charging stations using 2 of these electric car charging plugs. Then when I'm near
So
the
you
fun
hog
roads,
you hog up 2 stations and
Yeah.
plug them in.
you bet.
I love it.
Yeah, take them both.
Yeah.
And then when I'm near the fun roads in the countryside, there's always RV parks
Campsites.
nearby.
Yeah.
There's tons of RV parks. Not all of them have 50 amp connections, but there are enough of them where they're functionally everywhere.
And if you camp, you'll know that even if you don't get 50, you're
You'll get a
probably
30.
getting 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And 30's still a lot faster and a lot hotter than anything resembling your 110 voltage.
Oh yeah.
So, getting 220 volts are thrown at you at 30 amps is still fantastic.
Yeah.
It mystifies me when I take the RV out and
Yeah.
you're at a campground and you're looking at 240 sites lined up.
Yes.
Everybody's got a 50 amp connection.
Yeah.
And there are 200 RVs all running the refrigerator, air conditioner. I'm like, what kind of fucking wire do they have buried underground? They are
Yeah.
fucking, like, it's,
Oh, yeah.
it's
That's not a
pretty
10
serious.
gauge wire.
You look at their electrical meters going.
Oh,
You
yeah,
can see that when I plug.
You would have
in.
charged, you would have charged up your motorcycle. Psh, look what we got going on here, you know? Like,
So you have your 2 plugs. So you're charging each pack on each cable, or how's the?
So there's one battery pack,
Right.
and so I have 3 chargers. 2 of them hook up to one of the
Okay,
plugs,
yep.
and the other one hooks up to the other plug.
Okay.
And they all feed into the battery.
And the Zero does their batteries in a very interesting way that other companies don't do. Inside the Zero motorcycle, the heaviest part of the motorcycle by far is the battery.
Battery,
If you
yeah.
figure ballpark 40 pounds per battery. So, and these bikes, his bike is carrying 5 batteries.
Oh.
He's got the 4 stock batteries, and then up in the top where they would normally have a storage area or a charge tank, he's got a power tank. And the power tank is another cell. So he's got an extra, like we said, the full tank of gas in his bike. Instead of a KLR with 10 gallons on top, he's got 40 pounds of additional battery range.
well, those are lead based. I mean, they're 40
No,
pounds.
they're
No.
lithium ion.
No, they're all lithium ion.
Yeah, they're
So
lithium
it's
ion.
lithium. It's not lead.
Yeah, they're lithium ion.
It's
So
much more energy dense.
yeah,
Yeah.
each cell is about the size of a fat kid's lunchbox, right? It's a decent way to put it, or an antique toaster, right? And
So the batteries do weigh about as much as 4 gallons of gas.
Yeah, they're about 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a little more than 4 gallons of gas.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so you figure if you ballpark yourself at 40 pounds per cell per battery, that's kind of a decent spread between the modern cells and the cells from a few years ago. And each cell, each battery has its onboard battery management system, which is really clever, so that each battery can protect itself, can give you data about itself, so that if one battery should happen to have a problem, the other 4 don't. They're not like old Christmas tree lights. So if you have a battery with a problem, you can still charge and operate. It's just going to give you a fault code that says one of your batteries is checked out of the operation.
So it doesn't have to balance or anything. It doesn't
Right.
matter.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
like
you can throw
lipo,
as much
has to be
at 'em
balanced
as you
all
want.
Yeah, all
along.
the cells have to
Yeah,
be
They're
balanced.
fine.
Yep.
They're
Yep.
just
And that's what's amazing about, that's what is different about
Like
the
electro.
Zero.
Wait, but
sucks
so
up
each,
energy.
each one of those batteries, what's the voltage of the one battery?
Well, the bike operates at a nominal 100 volts, right?
Okay,
It goes from
93 to
93 to 116.
Yeah.
but so each one of those packs, though, so we were just like kind of almost a side conversation. So when I had my big drones, when I had the big batteries, right?
Right.
There are 6 cell lipo
Right.
that's 24 point
24 point
something volts.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And all 6 of those cells have to be pretty much balanced, or the
Yeah.
pack will become unhealthy.
Correct.
Right.
So with those,
Yeah,
does it have like a self-balancing per cell? So like you have 5 battery packs. Is each one of those has a management system? Is that also
Yeah,
managing
because
balance,
they
right?
each pack has its own cell,
Right.
but the cells are actually what are they
The
called?
pouches?
Pouches.
Pouch cells.
Yeah, they're pouch
extremely
cells,
dense.
and that's why they can get so much energy in such a small
We're not
space.
using cylindrical cells,
Right.
which have inherently a lot
They
of
have
basically
Right.
a pack made up of D batteries.
Well-
They make their own pouches.
A great way to look at it is your phone doesn't have cylindrical based batteries in it. Your
No.
phone has pouch based.
It's
Yeah,
just the
that's
pouch
what same
itself
with the
without
thing.
the-
Yeah, lipo like
Yeah.
the flat, not lithium,
Right,
whatever.
yeah,
They're
right.
flat.
But the motorcycle has in its brains it makes sure they're all balanced. All the
Right.
So
cells
it
are
is-
That's what I
so
figured.
it does
Yeah,
have-
so it is,
okay.
yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Yep.
Anytime you have the lithium involved, it's going to have to be balanced.
Yeah, and it's kind of a really interesting thing about that Zero. I was very impressed when I saw that we could take the bikes that have 2 batteries, like the dirt bikes, and we could just honk one battery out of it. Just reach in and grab a battery, pull the battery out of the damn thing, make the bike 40 pounds lighter, and still have the same amount of power, still have the same amount of
Right.
torque, but now the bike weighs 40 pounds less, you just have the range.
Yeah.
And so for short duration missions and stuff like that, for just funning around the neighborhood, the Zero was very flexible in that regard. We could just pull a battery out of it and it'd be good. And then put the other battery back in, and even though they're charged at different levels now, as soon as you plug it into the wall, it goes, oh, well, this one's at 22%, this one's at 82%. Let's bring Mr. 22 up to the 82% level.
Yeah.
Rather than running 82% down to 22%, they just charge up the other way.
Yeah, Zero's done a great job with developing their technology.
Amazing.
So it's really fascinating.
So they don't
hearing-
equalize it better. They won't let one battery charge the other battery and keep them at the same.
Nope. As soon as you plug that second battery in, it doesn't go this. It does not do that. It goes, plug it in, now juice it up. Yeah. Pretty smart.
He's waving his hands around for those of you listening
Yes,
to
that's
the
right.
podcast.
Thank you.
And it's very
He's
clear.
doing one of these.
It's very clear. Yeah, exactly.
I was doing the balance of justice.
Little shuffle.
I thought you were dabbing.
I was dabbing. I'm about to do an extra dab.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, now on your last trip, how many miles total did you accomplish? 2 years ago.
2 years ago, that was 8,700 miles.
And no gasoline was harmed.
No gasoline was, used or harmed. Yeah, it was great.
Amazing.
You might be borderline, like maybe able to get a Guinness World Record or something like that. I mean, most
Well, I've looked into that. So in
Right.
2013, we were doing this Ride the Future tour, and we were trying to get a lot of publicity for electric vehicles. At the same time, these two Italian guys were going from Shanghai to Milan.
Giddy up.
Now, I don't know how your geography is, but
Jesus.
there are many miles there. Now, they did have a truck
Yeah.
that carried a generator so
Would
they
have
could
to.
charge. All of my charging is done with what is available
Infrastructure.
publicly.
Portico.
So yeah, exactly. So I was going 4,500 miles on my trip. They were going 12,000 miles. So on that trip, I was telling people I'm going for a Guinness World Record,
Right.
knowing full well that they were just going to crush it.
Spank
Yeah,
the
but
pants off you.
I mean, wouldn't something like supported and unsupported kind of define the category? So if you're unsupported, that's like its own
You ever
thing.
Yeah,
seen
we
the way
haven't
Guinness
convinced
works?
Guinness that is a unique enough difference.
Really?
Yeah,
Dude,
'cause-
there's a, like, let me put it this way: when Charlie and Dude went around the thing,
yeah.
they had a full crew with them. Now, if
Yeah.
you and me just went and jumped on some BMWs by ourselves and tried to go across all the stuff without
Right.
that crew,
yeah,
you can
a
tell
big
that's a
difference.
huge
It's a big
difference.
that is a different. That's true. Oh, long ride.
Yeah, yeah.
Long way around, long way
long way
down.
down.
I mean, you
Ah,
might. Can you
so
get
good.
12,000 miles if you go all the way, start up all the way up in Canada, and go all the way down through Mexico, South America, Venezuela,
Top
right?
to tail. Yeah.
Yeah.
Argentina.
Top to tail.
Literally
If you did all 50 states in one summer,
Yeah.
you could also do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've done, or I'm sorry, all 48 states. So I've done all 48 states over a series of several summers.
So you've hit all of them.
Yeah, I'm the first person to ride electric motorcycles through all the lower 48 states.
Now, I have spent a lot of my time many years ago riding long distances. I've not given it up completely, but I'm taking a long break.
Yeah.
I can't tell you when the next time is I'm going to do any long distance riding. I've sold anything that's appropriate for it. Didn't stop you. Yeah, I know. We're surrounded by anything out here good to cross the country. But the last time we did cross country, James and I did on 125cc mad ass. So you're going to go out on a bang, so to speak.
Nice.
But what kills me is you're not, like most of my friends who travel cross country are overloading the motorcycle. I mean, that's just the nicest way to put it.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to bring that up. One of your panniers is a charger.
Right.
Yeah.
The other one is all your
Cables
various
for the-
cables and everything.
Yeah.
So where
There's
are you
a lot
putting
of air
all
in
your
that box.
kit? Because there's a top box and that's about it.
Yeah. Well,
So you're living out of the top box?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the first year I have a side box.
Ah.
Every other summer, I've only had the top box for cables and gear.
So this outfit,
So, you know,
That's
don't
right.
get too close. Don't get too close. But
I like
no,
it. I like it.
I grew up camping. Like I said, I grew up in New Hampshire.
Sure.
So traveling minimalistically is easy for me.
wash
And
your
also,
shirt and shorts in the sink. And
I see different people in each city. So if I wear the same
Nobody
thing,
knows.
what do they know? But so now, if you watch my videos, like on YouTube, my username is Ben Swing because I also swing dance, and
I'm into that. Later on, he's going dancing later on tonight.
Yeah, the next stop after this is going dancing.
Where are you going?
At the something brewery, Forest
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 City.
City Brewery.
Forest City
Yeah,
Brewery.
Forest City
I
Brewery.
offered to be his
Fantastic.
partner, but he said his back's not up to it.
Yeah. Ben has a really tough time. He has to go and dance with beautiful women all over America.
Sorry, guys.
Gorgeous, gorgeous, beautiful, intelligent, smart.
Oh, so what you're
Someone's
saying
gotta
is
do
I
it.
wasn't good enough for you?
The
Don't
That's what I'm
judge.
saying. You're not
Yeah.
even in line on his dance card. His dance card's perpetually full. Yeah. So I know it's tough.
It's good
Always a
stuff.
bridesmaid, never
You know
a
what?
bride.
That's the motivation that keeps him on that motorcycle all summer long.
That's why I keep doing these trips.
That's right. He's
There's
like, tonight I got to talk to these idiots,
beautiful
but then
women
I get to
all
go
over the
dance with
country.
beautiful women.
Oh man, yeah. So
it's
I mean,
true.
that's
Yeah.
so that's where I've met a lot of the people I stay with. So
That's
so like my trip is also
Couch surf-
unique
Your couch surfing game is strong.
because it might be legendary, but I'll let you decide because I don't want to like say it's legendary. But so here's what I do is like I have friends who live spread out all across the country.
Because I noticed there's no tent,
no,
there's no sleeping bag,
no.
there's no mat,
and I have not stayed in a hotel.
and there's none of that happy horse shit people need to go camping across
Damn,
America.
son.
Yeah,
I go to a campground to charge up, and then I get the fuck out of there.
Yes, he does.
yeah. So I used to travel and compete in swing dancing in Lindy Hop, and it's amazing. You meet all these wonderful people.
Oh, yeah.
And at the time, I had this job that I hated, and it was complete escapism. It was 100%
Yeah.
to get out of my terrible daily life and just live and be alive. And it was a wonderful way to do that. But I also met these incredible people. And so now all these incredible people
And were you
have
the only
kids
kid
in
doing
houses.
the Lindy Hop in 1986
No,
on
no.
the East Coast, or were you? In
Well, let's see, in the early 2000s, like,
so you got into it when it was phasing.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You
I
didn't start
started
when
in
you were 6
96.
years old.
Yeah, I started in 96. 98 was the Gap commercial.
Right.
Which is when it like really
Oh, yeah.
like exploded
Sure did.
nationally.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I have not stopped doing it. I
Right.
just keep doing it, and
Yeah.
and it's a great way to meet interesting people.
So Swingers, the movie, is that cool or not cool?
It's fun. It is
Okay,
fun.
all right.
Their dancing is pretty awful, but we were glad. It's actually interesting. Yeah. So
It was
like.
choreographed by somebody that was doing a fight scene earlier.
yeah.
Oh, it
And
could have been
yeah.
choreographed by like Alvin Ailey, but those actors were not going to
Not
execute
pulling
the
it out,
moves
yeah.
well. They're funny actors; they did a great job in the movie.
Yeah.
But there are some movies. Well, you were talking about Swingers, right?
Yeah.
So Swing Kids,
Right.
Oh, I
right
remember
about
that.
Yeah.
Germany,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
was that had some of the background dancers are excellent, and some of the internationally known Lindy Hoppers did the choreography for that.
Oh, cool.
So I've met all these people all across the country, and they all have kids in a house,
Yep.
and so they can't travel to see me nearly as easily as I
Oh
can
my
see
God,
them.
that's perfect.
And I love
Because you have the ultimate
road trips.
profession for this.
Yeah,
Well,
being
yeah,
a teacher,
summer's off, man.
like I have time, not money, right?
Right.
And so I have worked this hard such that I use the time to be with people I love. These are all like wonderful, wonderful human beings who we reconnect immediately. And so during the day, I'm alone. I can take whatever route I want.
Yeah.
If it's raining, I don't have to listen to someone else bitch and moan. Like I just plow through it. And then at night, I'm hanging out with someone I haven't seen in a few years.
You're always a guest star.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good place to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
That's
Do you have
a
a,
good place
do you have
to
a
be.
costume?
No.
Like for your dancing and everything?
Yeah.
You have,
Oh,
like,
oh,
You
yeah.
know, you got a closet full of zoot suits.
Well, you gotta have
No,
something.
no, but actually on the
Yeah.
bike.
Like when you're dancing,
Yeah.
like when you're dancing tonight. Are you just gonna wear that, or do you have to you have a little something you put on?
I have a little change of clothes.
Oh,
Do
there
you bring
go.
it?
You should. That's a good question. Does it fit on the bike?
This is the first summer I've brought it. Because in
Really?
the past, I would dance in my motorcycle
I'm
jeans
not being funny.
Oh,
with
wow.
knee pads and hip pads,
Oh, my
and
God.
they're heavy,
Yeah.
right?
Not the best.
And my
That kinda
motorcycle
stuff.
boots that are, like bulletproof.
Yeah, that is not the way.
And
it
I'm
is.
like clunk, clunk, clunk,
Right.
clunk, 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 clunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
yeah. So that's cool. So this trip though, you're able to put a little different spin on it.
I had a little bit more room.
Yeah, and you could-
because of the side case.
Side cases do it. yeah.
And so that's been a real luxury. And so yeah, I stay with friends and
Because
some.
honestly, you see your motorcycle parked out in the parking lot. Nobody's going to believe that you're traveling cross country.
No.
Yeah.
So that's why the couch surfing
Not
game
one
is
bit.
legendary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that's crucial.
I love it though,
and it saves me a
That's
lot of
exactly-
money.
that's the
Even
way
on
to
the
do it.
on the Four Corners tour,
Yep.
where I went to Seattle, L.A., Florida, and up. It was 51 days,
Okay.
and I spent 3 days in Airbnbs. And that, there are no Lindy Hoppers in the middle of nowhere, Kansas.
I was about to ask.
There probably are, but they're just not telling a lot of
They-
people. They're just
Yeah.
They're closet.
Yeah.
I bet you they're probably in their 80s.
That is
They're
true
probably
too.
Gen 1 if they're still around.
Yes,
Yeah.
the originals.
Yeah, I'm thinking they're Gen 1. If you're lucky enough to find them
Yeah.
Oh,
upright
yeah.
and breathing, yeah, you could probably stay in the next room over at the home
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a
Unplug
Oh,
it,
they-
IV,
they
and you
light
can
up,
slide
too.
it next to it. Yeah.
People light up when you
Oh,
talk
you-
about
absolutely.
swing dancing, and they're like, I used to be this person, and they did. So it's super fun.
Mighty.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
had the
exactly.
fleet hop. We did it on
No,
skates.
he's absolutely right. We did this video one time of all the guys from the Korean War.
Yeah.
They're all like on their last it's an honor flight. So we
Okay, yeah.
followed them from Connecticut all the way down to the memorials and walked around stuff. Then at night they had a nice dinner for them. And halfway through it, they started playing the Andrews Sisters, and this lady
Right.
came out dressed kind of like that, and they
Yeah.
said mail call, and all these dudes that were basically like kind of sleeping and stuff, and just sitting there were like, oh, you know, and they got
Yeah.
all into it, and they were super
Yeah.
pumped. So it was,
Oh yeah,
Wasn't
still
there?
got it.
Well, hey, whatever it takes, man.
yeah, it was
That's
cute.
fantastic. I mean, that's great that we joke in the scooter community we're
Yeah.
the same way. We can go anywhere. I was in Germany, put a note on a bike,
Yeah.
said nice Vespa, like nice P200. Obviously, looking at the bike, it wasn't just a commuter like the other 2,000 bikes
Right.
that are in Germany. It was clearly owned by a scooter boy. It was clearly a Pride type bike. And I left a note, said, "Hey, I'm in town. I'm a scooterist from Cleveland, Ohio. This is the number I'm at." Guy called me up, went out, had a great dinner, stayed at his place, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because when you're into something that's cool like that,
Right.
I don't know if it works in decoy duck collecting. I can't guarantee it.
No, but they're communities.
Right.
Yeah.
Like there's a feeling of brotherhood
Yeah.
with these other people.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. So swing dancing specifically has really helped with that.
That's been great.
Halfway down the Blue Ridge Parkway, I
Yeah.
always stay in Blacksburg with a guy I met. Guy I met online, and but like on a
When you
on
didn't know
electric
was in-
motorcycle forum, and I was like, "This is my route, and I don't have a place to
Right.
stay near Roanoke, Virginia." And he was just like, "Hey, you can crash at
Oh,
my
yeah.
place."
That's one of the few things that forums are actually good for.
They're
Because
great
mostly
for-
web forums are horrible places to be.
Yes.
But things like that, like I witnessed this a couple weeks ago on a forum I go on quite a bit, where a guy was broken down in like butt fuck like Idaho somewhere, and he got on the thing and was like, "Hey guys, man, I'm stranded in Idaho. I need a back tire. I'm happy
Oh, yeah.
to pay for it, but I can't even. I'm in the middle of nowhere." Within 20 minutes, somebody had picked him up in a truck and took him to like an hour away to the local motorcycle shop and got him back on
We
the
had
road.
an analog version of that 100 years ago, and the analog version was you'd join a club, and it was something along the lines of an American Motorcycles Association,
Right.
but it was different, and there was a paper roll, and there was one phone number for the whole country, and some poor bastard drew the short straw that year to be the phone manager, and that phone number, the 1-800 number, forwarded to their phone,
Right.
and at 4 o'clock in the morning, you'd be the guy that took the call and said, "Okay, hey, Ryder, where you at? Broke down. Where are you? Aurora, Ohio. Where are you specifically? I'm in, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm at this point in this location. All right, let me get the book." And you hear paper shuffling, and they'd look, Aurora, Ohio. Okay, well, we got 4 people, give or take 20 miles from Aurora, Ohio, and they'd start calling people
Yeah.
and say, "Hey, look, you agreed to have your name on this list, so you got access to the list should you need it someday.
Right.
And can you set this guy up? And then you used to list what your assets were. So if you had a trailer, if you had a garage full of tools,
Yeah.
if you had
The hot wife.
17-year-old daughter,
Yeah, right.
whatever, you made sure you listed that.
That's the
This
third
way-
thing on everyone's list.
Yeah. What a
Farmer's
coincidence.
daughter. Right? And,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, you're in Amish country.
Yeah.
But that was the way it worked. And I remember one time I broke down cross country, and I was like, I had the card in my wallet, and I was in Nebraska, and I will remember this for a very long time because I called them, and they went, "Oh, okay, yeah. Do you have a number where we can call you back?" And this was before cell phones. I said payphone number, gave the guy the payphone number.
Wow, how old are you?
Old, and I had to wait by the payphone with a
Yeah.
broken bike.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So I waited by the payphone with a broken bike, and eventually, like an hour and a half later, the guy called me back, and he goes, "We got a guy. He's got a pickup, and he's coming to get you, and he'll set you up at his house. He's got a garage full of tools." I said, "That's everything I need. I'll be fine." He's like, "Great." I was like, "When will it be here?" He says, 2.5 hours. The guy was 100 miles away from me. And the guy drove 100 miles to pick me up. By the time we got back to his house, 11 o'clock, 11:30.
You knew everything about each other.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
As soon as
Wow.
as soon as we got to the house, I realized it was one of those situations where like, this guy is, help me, Obi-Wan, you're my only hope.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He was my only hope Because Nebraska, there are not a lot of BMW dealerships per square
There's
mile.
not a lot of humans.
Right, and it was bad, and I was like, just show me your tools, dude.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna have some beers, and we're gonna relax, and we're gonna hang out. It's gonna be great. We drank 6 beers in the car on the way back, in the truck on the way back to his house,
Good man.
because it's Nebraska.
He didn't show
Right.
up empty-handed.
No, he didn't. But by the time we got back to the garage, I just wanted to fix the bike, and
Yeah.
I just dove into the tool chest and the whole thing, and I was like, man, if this guy wouldn't have been here, I would have really been boned. You know,
Yeah.
really a good thing to have that infrastructure, that good network that we have now
Oh, yeah.
through forums.
Yeah.
You know?
And even so, I kind of expect people who are already interested in electric motorcycles to be really friendly and offer up like, oh yeah, stay with me if you
Yeah.
want or stop by. But I went on some regular gas bike forums and talked about electric motorcycling, and a bunch of people just said, "Hey, I'm in the middle of nowhere, Missouri, or here, Texas, and just stop by if I'm on your way. I'll share a beer with you, or
Yeah,
you
great.
can
Electric or
charge up."
gas, you're still on 2
It's
wheels,
awesome.
so people
Yeah.
are going to
Yeah.
respect that. I mean, like it's
Yeah.
same like everybody thinks, oh, Harley guys and scooter guys and dirt bike guys, and once you get past all the parading around and stuff, you can
Yeah.
have conversations
Still,
with
yeah.
these guys.
And what I've found is online, you see a lot of just hate being spewed everywhere in every which
Oh,
way.
but in
and it's,
person,
it's
yeah.
awful.
Yeah.
But when I have my electric motorcycle in person,
Oh, yeah.
surrounded by Harley guys, right,
Yeah.
at some amazing road in Western North Carolina, then everyone is interested, and I've never had a negative experience. I've only had positive experiences.
great.
BMW guys, Harley, like whoever, people who ride like sport bikes on Skyline Drive, they all came over and they're like, "Whoa, this is electric!" And throughout the years, in 2013, the conversation was like, "What the heck is this?"
Right.
And now it's like, "Oh, this is
It's
a
a
zero."
zero, yeah.
You know, like they know a couple of
I'm
things.
starting to
about it.
acknowledge it.
Yeah.
You were going to say, John?
It's fun.
Are you a pure electric bike guy, or do you have other bikes, or have you ridden? Do you have gas bikes? Have you ever had a gas bike? Or?
Yeah, you are outing me right now.
Hey!
So
Whoa! I can reel this back.
I feel attacked. No, that's a good question, and a lot of people ask that. But I got a motorcycle to get off gas. So I am a passionate environmentalist,
So you were trying to get out of a car, so
Yeah.
you got a motorcycle.
but specifically, I got a Vectrix, which was the first electric motorcycle that was available widely. And
Phil might have some things to say about a Vectrix.
It
But
had-
go ahead.
It had 40 miles of range and a nickel metal hydride battery that you had to run all the way down in order to keep the charge.
Did you pay full price for it?
I think so.
You're one of the only ones.
Oh, I was young and naive.
Yeah.
So, but I got my motor because the Nissan Leaf was not even released at that point.
And the Vectrix was from Connecticut,
Yeah,
so that's where their headquarters were.
yeah. And I was in Maryland. I got my motorcycle license, and that 250cc trainer bike was the only gas bike I've ever ridden.
Okay.
So whenever people say like, "Hey, let's trade bikes sometime," I know that they're not going to do it. So I'm like, "Yeah, let's do that." But I'm
Right.
like, I've never shifted a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Like
Wow.
except for that BRC, the basic rider.
But that's a good thing too. It also speaks to that. A lot of people are like, "Well, I don't want to enter the world of motorcycling. I'm an electric. I feel like I should go out and earn my stripes first." And I always, this happens in the showroom all the time. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why do you want to learn how to use an inferior system just so you can know how to use the inferior system? The transmission exists because the motor is not flexible enough.
It's so flawed.
So if the motor, right, it's true. It's absolutely true.
Yeah.
If the motor were more flexible, you wouldn't need 10 speeds in your transmission to make it work. You know?
Yeah, internal
So-
combustion engines are so poorly designed,
Yes.
but they work.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
It
So
was-
therefore we've just kept using them for
right.
over 100
It's
years.
one of those. It's one of those games where if you lay out all the pieces of an internal combustion engine,
Yeah.
all those potential fail points,
Oh.
and even in a two-stroke, where there's literally a
Less.
third
Yeah.
less of them.
Yeah.
Sleepy can tell you how many fail points. I mean, when you narrow it down to a two-stroke with a single cylinder,
Yeah.
he's still experiencing multiple failure.
all the time.
With you have an electric, you have a moving part.
So that begs the question: have you ever killed your Zero?
Well, it has been largely bomb proof. The bike just works. I just get on it when I leave it in my garage over
You
winter.
don't have to change the oil. You don't have to change spark plugs.
Yeah,
you don't
there's
have to
no oil.
I was
Adjust the
asking him
clutch.
earlier,
or-
how many miles does he have in his electric riding career.
Yeah. So I
It's
have
shocking.
5,000 on the Vectrix.
Right.
27,000 on the 2012.
Right.
23,000 on the 2014, and now 16,000.
Yeah.
So
So you're under
So
100,000, but very close to it, right?
55, 60, 70,000.
Yeah.
I broke 70,000 like about 1,000 miles ago.
And when you traded your bikes in or sold them or whatever, they were running fine and just
Yep.
happy to, there was nothing.
Yeah, exactly. I just wanted more battery.
Right.
I just wanted a
Yeah.
longer
It
range.
was just for an upgrade.
Tempted by the better stuff. Yeah, and I mean
Yeah.
most of the people that I know that are electric riders are upgrading things that work fine. They're not repairing things.
Yeah.
They're literally going, "Ooh, that charges faster. I'll buy one of those.
Well,
That goes further. I'll buy one of those."
Oh yeah.
They're throwing away perfectly good chargers to put other chargers on the bike.
Yeah.
You know.
so how is this just because it all goes along with the electric bike thing? So we know the depreciation of gas bikes pretty much. We see it come and go. That how is it with the electric bikes when you traded those in or whatever?
Yeah, it's really because it's not well known. People just kind of assume electric bikes depreciate the
same
same.
way, yeah.
So it's hard. It's hard to get a really good price when you sell it used. So there's a lot of great deals on used electric motorcycles. So for people who are interested
and remember that,
in electric,
especially with
Look there.
zeros, that shit's all backwards compatible.
Yeah.
So
You can
if
upgrade
you
them.
buy a 3-year-old Zero and you want to put a 116 foot-pound torque motor in it,
You can upgrade
you can
it.
do that.
yeah,
You know, if you want to buy a 3 or 4-year-old Zero and put the latest, hottest 14.4 batteries in it, you can do that. So it's a really interesting platform. It's a very interesting idea because in the world of motorcycles, most people would generally go, "Well, I'm going to sell my 250 and I'm going to get a 750." You're dumping the entire operating system.
Right.
Whereas with the Zero, you can literally sell your 80 foot-pounds torque motor and put in a 116 foot-pounds torque motor in it,
yeah.
and keep the rest of the motorcycle that you paid for. You're
Yeah.
only replacing the part that you need to change.
So the bikes, like, it doesn't matter how many miles. So when I went, my latest bike with 23 or 27,000 miles, I went to a dealer to see what they would give me for it, and they're like, "Oh, well, 27,000 miles is a lot of miles," and I'm like, "It's electric.
Yeah.
It may as well have 0 miles.
Right.
Like, there's, maybe the belt's got a little bit of wear,
Right.
but that's
And
a
the tires,
$60 part.
that's about it.
And
Or
that's
the
it.
tires.
Worst case scenario, a couple bearings, maybe a bearing or two.
It's,
you know?
well, and the way that
Fork oil.
right,
I know we're grasping at straws here. Like,
Right.
what
You really
might
can't.
not
And
be perfect with it.
and that's one of those items where the way the bike doesn't operate in a traditional plain bearing the way you're thinking about it. So it's not even like there's susceptible to wear bearing that's in there that could fail and cause you a problem. That's
Oh, a
just
wheel
not the
bearing.
way.
It's gotta have a
Right,
wheel.
wheel bearings, absolutely.
Yeah, right.
Wheel bearings, sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I replaced the fart fan at work
Yeah.
in the toilet. That had been installed sometime in the 70s.
Yeah.
And there was no switch on it.
No.
It just ran at 3,000 RPM
For the last
maybe less
45
than
years.
that.
Yeah.
For 45 years
Yeah.
in plain bearings.
Yep.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah, electric motors are everywhere. They're
The fan
in
in my
air
neighbor's
handlers.
garage. He's
Yeah.
got one of those vent fans on the ceiling of his garage, or the roof of his garage,
Mm-hmm.
that causes me to not be able to hear the lake when I sleep. And it's just. And we figured out this morning when I woke up and I opened up the window and I heard that. I was like, we've owned this house for 23 years. That fucking fan has been running for 23 years.
Yeah,
And probably even
electric
before that.
motors are they're just they're bomb proof. They
I
just
might
work.
know a guy that can help you out with that.
I do too. I
Okay.
know a guy. It's me. I need to clamber up on his roof with a stick and jam it up under that hood and just make all the smoke come out of that electric motor.
Yeah.
And I'll be able to hear the lake for the first time in 23 years. Yeah.
That's wild.
You got to bring that up to this guy. This sounds like it's weighing heavy on you.
He's a motorcycle guy too. So yeah,
Oh.
I was just gonna say, you drop a little something in his ear that the garage in the house he doesn't live in, the fan's a little noisy.
so what's our time like? We're only allowed to use up
Yeah,
an
we're
hour.
all allowed to use it. We're actually doing
Almost
really
on
good.
time.
We're at 53
Yep.
minutes right now. Hey, so Zenoth, stop. Sleepy, how come you didn't die last week?
I don't know. That was an awesome experience. So, as we had talked about for the last few podcasts, this last weekend was Flat Out Friday and then the Fuel Motorcycle Show on Saturday.
Hell
Flat
yeah.
Out Friday is Dr. Pepper Syrup Circle Track Racing.
So it wasn't Coke, it was Dr. Pepper.
It was Dr. Pepper, and they couldn't really get it to stick. so they poured more of it on there and all this stuff. And
The answer is to pour more.
yeah.
Get another layer
And
of
so
it.
I really didn't know what to expect, and I was racing the Boonie class with the green bastard, and the
Boonie
Boonie
class
class
being-
is mini bikes. So it's
Oh, nice.
like
Mini
whatever.
bikes.
But I'm telling you right now, I think honestly we were like 10 miles an hour slower than the big bikes because it's such a small thing that you really
Yeah.
you couldn't
You
go
don't
to.
have time.
So during practice, I went out there. First of all, let me just say the flat out guy or the Mama Tried people, they're awesome, man.
Yes, they are.
That dude, the guy that ran it, I think his name was Kevin. He said, like, you might wonder why you're all smashed in the pits together. He's like, because I want you guys to be a community.
Yeah,
He's
smart.
like, I don't want
really cool.
like the new guys that are on
Being-
boonie bikes to feel unwelcome by the guys on hooligans and stuff like that.
Yep.
You're all here to have fun,
That's
do
cool.
whatever.
That's the way
so
to
it was
do
really
it.
cool. And so, a little nervous. And of course, a couple of the other boonie dudes start talking to me, and that's when Oliver Peck came over, and he was talking with us because he was like, "Have you ever done this before?" I'm like, "Nope." He's like, "All right, me neither." So like we're all kind of excited, and so they started practice, and I went out there, and so I thought, all right, I'm gonna go ride this thing around. This thing. Can I tell you how hard it is to turn on Coke or Dr Pepper syrup? You hit it and you turn, and I mean, like, you have to push harder than you think you are. You have to lean further over than you think you should.
Yeah.
And you're just waiting for this thing just to fly out from underneath
And
you.
it's hooking up.
But it's hooking up.
I couldn't believe how well it was hooking up.
And then the crazy part is about 2 or 3 laps into this, you have arm pump like you've never had
yeah.
before. And so the first practice, I had to figure out how to ride this thing.
Right.
Like, I didn't know, should I do the circle track thing and shove my leg out? Should I
Right.
sit? So I was kind of figuring out.
So you didn't do the ski boot thing like I recommended?
Oh no! We I did I taped the foot. We
Oh,
did
good,
tape the
good.
bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so the first round it was like the second round for practice started to get a feel for it.
Right.
And me and a couple of guys there was 2 guys that were obviously like,
And this is all anti-clockwise. This whole thing is turning
all
left.
turning left the whole time.
Right.
And there was 2 guys that had, and I dare to call them mini bikes. They were like XR50s with
Those
like a
were
mini
tuner
bike
bikes
motor.
for sure, man.
Oh
The
yeah.
big wheels,
Yeah.
they were meant to corner. I watched the video.
Yeah.
These guys brought fucking ringers.
Well, and the one guy was the guy that raced in every single class and was doing backflips on a mini bike. So, I
Yes.
mean, like he didn't suck in any way at anything
Wow.
he was doing all day.
Solid guy.
The other guy also raced the hooligan class and something else. So these guys were like, "Hey, let's make these mini bikes and just go really fast."
It was the guy with
yeah.
the white leather.
Yeah, the white leather,
Yeah, I saw
Finley
the guy.
or Finn, whatever.
Yeah, he was
Nice guy.
really good.
Oh, they're
yeah.
all good, whatever.
Yeah.
But so it got more and more comfortable, and I finally figured out you just got to sit over the front of the thing
And
as
then just-
far forward as you can get.
Oh,
Stick
okay.
your leg, which
it
basically it was
doesn't-
like doing a leg plank for 10 minutes. Like you just have your legs sticking out. It was
Because
just,
where else are you going to put it?
well, yeah, you can't bring it back.
You can't
and
put it
yeah.
under you.
No, so
There's no under you.
But it-
under you is your left butt cheek, 2 inches above of Dr. Pepper.
Right. Yeah. So the whole time though, like you'd think, okay, you're racing mini bikes, whatever. But I'm telling you, man, the spirit of competition and stuff, and just doing it, and then all of a sudden, like a couple thousand people there,
Yeah.
it was exhilarating as hell,
It
dude.
fires you right.
You get out there, and I was like, yeah, fuck, I'm passing this guy, yeah, like, I'm really getting into it and stuff. But then, like you see the dudes. So there were guys. This one dude had a Bultaco.
Yeah.
2-stroke Bultaco that he was wheeling on every single straightaway and laying this thing and actually sliding the back tire somehow on Coke syrup around.
Yeah, and
this
your
thing.
straightaway was at least 85 feet.
Yeah,
Maybe
it was
90 feet.
Yeah, it was. Some of those guys are pretty intense,
Yeah.
but I mean, it was so much fun that one, everybody that didn't go this year needs to go next year
I
if
think-
they
Oh,
do it
yeah.
again.
Yep.
2, if I can figure this out, I might drive to Minneapolis on the 31st and go race up there for the Harley 115th thing because it was that fun.
Yeah. It's the same operation.
Yeah,
It's the same concept.
it is.
Now, how much did your motorcycle cost?
I got it for $320.
There you go.
But now because of this,
Yeah.
I'm already like I need a torque converter. I got
Yeah,
to
they're
get.
gonna-
I'm like, all right, I need to
Upgrades.
$100 on Walmart.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's $50 whole.
I know.
If you go to Tractor Supply Company, you might be able to get a deal.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's not much to do this, and it's so worth
Stick
it.
with
It
a
was
Comet.
so much
Spend the
fun.
money. Spend the good money. Get a Comet clutch
Yeah,
For
yeah.
70.
for 70.
It's
Spend
kind of like
70
playing
bucks.
those racing
As a-
video games. At the end, of you get your car or your motorcycle,
diehard-
you pick your
Upgrade this.
upgrades.
Yeah.
As a diehard mini biker,
Well, Bruce
in the
bought that.
70s.
Yeah.
Bruce bought that boonie bike
Oh,
just like
yeah.
yours.
does not
Yeah.
fit.
That has a 175.
Yes.
Yeah, was
Yes.
it Polestar?
It was Pool
Yes,
Star.
Pool Star,
It was
yeah,
out of
yeah.
a
They don't
175
care.
Tri-Zinger.
It's
Yeah.
Full Start.
No.
So it's a 2-stroke 175 with an expansion chamber on it.
I guarantee in a straight line, it'll be the fastest thing out there.
and this
It was terrifying.
This was completely unexpected, but pretty awesome. So, like when you signed up to race,
Yeah.
you got a wristband.
Sure.
and on the wristband was a chip. So their whole scoring system was digital.
Oh, the transponder.
Oh,
And it was,
really?
the transponder.
So you
yeah.
were at a transpondered event.
Yeah, and check this out. So
How
you,
much did that cost for you to participate?
Well, I had to do the AMA thing, so I think it was like $80, but it was $40 to race and $20 pit pass, whatever. So, but it was awesome.
I
Best
pay that
entertainment.
for a weekend just for the transponder,
Right.
to do a track day
But
weekend.
this is how crazy
Yeah.
this is. So it's by the time you finished your race, your
Yeah.
results were on your phone. So you went to this website like TT
Yeah.
Tracked, whatever. You found the event.
Yeah.
And it would say what class and what heat. You go like this, boom. You say, oh, I got 4th place. I got 5th place. Like right
You
after.
didn't have to
Wow.
go look for a leaderboard.
Nothing.
You didn't have to have a pit crew. You didn't have to have
No.
somebody holding them.
So these
Board
guys,
fancy.
these guys were awesome, man. I really, really hope they come back next year. I mean,
Yeah.
like the turnout was okay. I think
Yeah.
they did like 3,000-4,000 people or something like that, which is the first year here. But and they were expecting more racers, I think, too.
Yeah, well, they
So-
called us just before the event and made a kind of an open invite. They were like, "Look, if you can get any asses in seats, if you can put anybody on a bike, believe me, if they bring the bike down, if it has 2 wheels and a motor, we got a class for them.
Yeah,
Like we'll make a class."
Did anybody get hurt?
yeah. 2 guys got
Yeah.
I want to say mangled, but
One guy got Dr. Pepper burns.
well, he got ran over by a bike, and I think more or less they were worried about his back because I think it just his bike. He was on a inappropriate classes, choppers and things
Right.
that shouldn't be racing on this, and that bike had to weigh 650, 700 pounds, and it just smushed him. And then this other dude, I don't know what happened to him. He was kind of like a hooligan dude.
Yeah.
And I never saw him crash or anything, but all of a sudden I saw paramedics there, and they
Huh.
were putting him on a backboard and then taking him out.
Yeah, it's weird.
So I don't really know what happened to him, but besides that, everybody else was,
I tried walking across the Dr. Pepper floor and I almost lost a shoe.
yeah.
That shit is grippy.
My tires, so I put
Now you have ants.
I put the bike on the trailer. I get home.
that's how you get ants.
I wheel it back in, and every leaf and everything in my yard is
picking
now
all this
stuck.
shit up.
Yes.
Pull the garage, there's a cat stuck to your bike tire.
So the whole experience Friday was great. And again, man, like I hope the flat out guys come back and the Mama tried the whole thing.
Yeah.
It was
And
really
then
good.
Saturday, it was a continuation of it.
Yeah.
Was the fuel show.
Yep.
And I think the lowbrow custom guys and all those guys kind
It
of
was a great show. We had a great time.
unbelievable, man.
Beautiful show, and it's one of those shining. I think it's a very prideful, shining moment for Cleveland to be able to host a show like that.
Yeah.
It's funny because there's this. You're in the hood. You're on the east side of Cleveland. You're over there at 52nd and
Hamilton.
Don't Rob Me, and there's a blast radius of trucks and trailers from all over America. So you see California license plate, New Mexico license plate, Washington State license plates, because people are bringing beautiful hand-built motorcycles and some stuff that would just knock your eyes out.
Yeah.
And it's creative. So they're being very careful about what they let in the show. So these bikes that are there, every single bike is a piece of art.
Oh, wow.
And they're just so well done.
And it's not segregated to just Harleys
No.
or just
God, it's
Japanese
every
bikes
damn
or anything.
thing.
It's
It's
everything.
Tons of British.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there was everything. And that's what the crowd reflected that.
Yes, it did.
But I haven't seen. I give these guys a lot of credit. I haven't been to a show like that where there was a pretty decent Harley contingency,
Yeah.
and everybody was cool.
Everybody was cool.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that they're not usually, but it's like for some reason at this particular show, it just everybody blended. With
I
like,
think
yeah,
everybody's so
motorcycles.
happy to have. I think they're happy to have the opportunity.
Yeah,
It's a daylight event. That's why it ends at 6 o'clock or
Right.
8 o'clock or whatever. It's a daylight event. People do want to get into the They want to get into the art of that bike. They want to get into the art that's hanging on the walls.
Right.
There was a whole barn full of vendors. There was a whole building,
Yeah.
warehouse full of vendors. I thought it was a very, very well represented show that as a grassroots vibe far more than anything that resembles an IX Center motorcycle show where each vendor has to pay $1,000.
you're in a warehouse where you could get tetanus.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that was awesome.
Yeah,
That's
there
where I
was
want to see custom
tetanus
bikes.
dispensing
Right.
session. Right, yeah.
You're at the IX Center. It's like the lady's like vacuuming the floor behind you and all this. It's just
I
not
was
the
very.
same.
It's always been a very good event, and cheers to those guys for putting it on because I know they worked their ass off to make that happen.
Yeah.
So good for them. And then all the vendors they had there, the smell of whatever barbecue they were cooking was going into the main building.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at bikes and I'm like, oh, I can't fucking concentrate. I need to go spend some money.
Did we mention that on Saturday the bike show's free too?
It is free.
It's
Just walk
free.
in.
Yeah, just walk
you
in.
can't pay.
No.
It's impossible to pay. It's a free motorcycle show.
Yeah.
And it's very nice. I was telling you, it's one of those things that we have it in Cleveland. We're happy to have it. Also, I'm going to wrap up real quick. Distinguished Gentleman's Ride is September 30th. So check your local listings.
The last Sunday of September.
The last Sunday of September, because we're going to be doing one here in Cleveland. I'm not allowed to disclose the route or the ride locations because you must register to get that information. However, we will probably be having breakfast at Porco that morning.
Oh, good place for breakfast.
Yeah,
Seems
it's
like
amazing.
a great place
I
for
think that'd be
breakfast.
excellent
Exactly.
breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I have a
Porco.
painkiller for breakfast?
Oh, I think it'd be hard to leave there without a painkiller.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Level
exactly
3.
it.
So I
Yeah.
have 2 months to get my scooter running.
September 30th,
Another one.
baby.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Painkiller and
extinguished. Yeah. What were you talking about? You said something about. Bring it on, baby. You said I got a message from you. You said something about a tuning fork.
Oh, that's post podcast.
Oh.
Check. All right. That'll be on the down low for our special Patreon subscribers.
Just a couple of things.
Yeah.
If people are interested in following my
They should.
adventures,
Yes.
I update my Facebook page, Ben Rich Electric Biker,
He does update his Facebook page.
and it has
lot.
photos.
Yeah.
So
We're up there for yesterday and today.
you won't get anything from September until June, but once it's the summertime, I will flood your page with like
Oh, that's
adventures and
perfect.
Yeah,
charging
yeah.
spots and crazy stuff like that. And then Instagram and YouTube, if you look up Ben Swing, all one word, just Ben
That's
Swing.
where I've seen some of your videos. That's
And,
what.
yeah.
From traveling and doing a couple. I watched like you do a pretty good job like putting like when
Not
you're doing
been
your trips.
swinger.
You put together quite a bit of a segment. So it's
Different
like
site.
a nice little package. Like,
Thanks.
it's a
Yeah,
good
well,
video.
I
Yeah.
am terrible at editing, but I can talk pretty well.
Yeah.
And the videos hopefully bring you on one of these rides. And some people told me, bless them, that they have watched and listened to every minute of every one of my videos.
Wow.
And a lot of people have told me, I get this feedback like once a week that they were on the fence about getting an electric motorcycle. They're really uncertain about it. They watched my videos and then they took the plunge and they were like, look, if this guy can go cross country on these, then I can use it for around town.
And it's
or whatever.
absolutely true.
It's
And
fine.
I fall in the trap, and I'm guilty of it, is talking to people as though, well, this is a great thing to add to your motorcycle stable. It's not added to your motorcycle stable. This is your
No,
motorcycle.
This is how I
That's your
get
bike
around.
parked
it.
out there.
It's my primary transportation. I do have a car because in the winter we have ice
Yeah,
on the roads.
yeah.
But
We
this
wouldn't
is
know anything
I'm
about
much
that.
more-
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Ice, salt.
Familiar
Yeah,
with the concept.
your roads
Potholes,
are
debris.
about as nasty and potholy as my roads in New Jersey.
Oh yeah.
Because New Jersey for a long time I was thinking New Jersey just has the worst roads. Not being hyperbolic about it, because I have ridden on roads in every state in
Yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
continental U.S. And when I got back home, it was back to being like a rodeo or a obstacle
Serious
course.
arm pump.
And now you guys are giving me a run for my money.
I think Detroit can get in there with this too.
Well,
I bet they can.
Yeah.
Detroit's a whole different game.
I have
But-
avoided
but-
Detroit.
But I will say that New Jersey has more car fires on the side of the road than we do in Cleveland.
Oh, yeah.
So,
There does seem to be a lot of cars just on
Yeah.
We have our
fire.
fair share. We have our fair share.
And Detroit, it's
And once
a
again,
couch on
Detroit,
fire
right.
on the side of the freeway going, wow, fire on the side of the freeway. And it's a couch.
Yeah.
Well, in Detroit, there might be people.
Explain that to me. How did that end up being the solution to the problem?
That's crazy. Also, I would have been wanting to say I love your Doctor Who
Oh, thank
shirt.
you. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that is
10th
awesome.
and 11th Doctors.
Yes.
The
whole
nerd is
time.
strong in
Yeah.
this building.
Yeah.
The what?
The nerd
The
is
nerd
strong.
is strong in
Yes.
this building.
Oh, I'm a
We have a
huge
Doctor Who
Whovian.
pinball machine.
Yeah?
Yeah. In the
All right.
building. If I
Well,
would have known you were a Whovian, you would
I-
have been playing it earlier.
I gotta play with beautiful babes. I gotta dance with beautiful babes.
know.
So I will.
So
save
fuck
that
your
for
damn
the next
pinball
time.
machine. Something, getaway sticks.
Next cross country trip, I'll stop by. We'll play pinball.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Did you
Late
see the
night.
stems on that one?
Late night.
Right, exactly. Well, guys, that's it. This is a short podcast. We're going to do another drop tomorrow night at the Road Rash Bash.
Woo, Saturday.
Saturday night. Thanks.
Thanks for having me.
Ride fast, take chances, and press the goddamn button.